Firstly, let me introduce myself, Rakshit Parikh, lecturer, mechanical department at Parul University. On behalf of the mechanical department, I, Rakshit Parikh, heartily and warmly welcomes to all the students and our speaker, Mr. Ankit sir. First of all, I would like to thanks to Mr. Ankit sir for accepting our invitations and give some times from their busy schedules to share their knowledge with our students. So thank you, Ankit sir. Today we are presenting a webinar titled as the Introductions to Automation and PLC Programming, presented by Mr. Ankit sir. Uh, Now, let me some introduce. I would like to address about our today's speaker, Ankit sir. Ankit sir has completed his graduation in electronics and communications. Now, Ankit sir is a branch manager and a training head at Softcon India Private Limited at the Baroda. Sir has a 7+ years of experience in the field of automations and training of engineering graduates and working professionals. Sir is expertise in the PLC programming, SCADA design, HMI designing, VFD commissioning, then machine learning and artificial intelligence. And also, sir delivers many expert sessions and also vocational training in campus of universities and colleges, and also train the industrial person in the related to the automations and the PLC programming. Okay. Uh, Here is my contact number and a mail ID. Please note down. If you have any questions related to today's webinar topic, then please inform me. So your doubts will be solved by our experts. Expert. So now, without any further time, now I hand over today's session to our speaker, Mr. Ankit sir. Sir, Ankit sir, kindly
Yes,
take
sir.
over.
Thank you so
Uh,
much, sir. Thank you so
Kindly
much,
to
sir.
go to the session.
Yes, sir. Am I audible, sir? And my screen is
Yes, yes.
visible?
Just a minute. I stop my presenting. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Screen is visible.
Okay. Okay. So, good afternoon, all of you. As sir introduced and sir said that we have a today webinar, or you can say expert session on topic of industrial automation, or you can say introduction of automation, and then we will go further into the PLC programming part. So, let's start today's topic. So first is industrial automation, or you can say what is automation. So as we all know that automation is that whatever the process we have, whatever we are doing, that thing is going to be automatic. We don't have to do anything. The entire process is going to be completely automatic. So to do the automation, as we know that if we want to do any automatic process, we have to do some programming. And if we want to do any process, if we want to do automation of any process, then definitely we require some controller. As all of you know that maybe some of you have worked on microcontroller also in your major or minor project also. So here in automation, if we want to do like automation, then we need an industrial controller, and that controller called PLC, programmable logic controller. So as we know that what is automation? Automation is simply like whatever the process we have, that is going to be automatically. And if we talk about the standard definition, then automation is basically the delegation of human control to the technical equipment. And what is the purpose of automation? So there are four purposes of the automation. First, to increase the production. Second, just a minute. Second purpose is to reducing the cost. Third purpose is increasing the quality of the product, whatever, and then increasing safety in working condition. So where we use the automation. So if I give you example, we use automation from agriculture to the space technology. Wherever you go, you will find a automation in and nowadays. So here we are going to talk about the industrial automation. There are different types of automation available in market. One is industrial automation, office automation, home automation are also there. So here we are going to talk about the industrial automation, because after completing our studies, we are going to work in the industry. So here we are talking about the industrial automation. So There are four purposes as we discussed, that is increasing productivity, reducing cost, then increasing quality, and increasing safety in working condition, working environment, right? So how this purpose, why this automation technology is required in a nowadays? Because we cannot depend on a manual things, or we cannot depend on a human. Let's take an example. Suppose we have any manufacturing product plant. Suppose let's take an example of that. We have any food processing industries, or you can say we have any food beverages industries where we are doing a production of any food processing thing, food product. So what will happen over there? We have to depend on a human. So suppose if in your plant there is a thousands of labor are working over there, so there will be a highly chance that out of thousand labor, there will be 10 to 20 labors will be absent on that day. So suppose you have set a target that you want to produce 1,000 products per particular that day, and out of that there are 10 or 20 labors are not available or they are absent. So what will happen? End of the day, you will not be able to meet the target, like whatever the production target you set, that you will not be able to meet, and somehow you will try to meet that. Then you have to compromise with the quality. Now the second thing we will discuss later, reducing cost, increasing quality, right? We use automation to increase the quality. Now suppose if we depend on the human, if we do the manual process in the manufacturing industries or any industries, then what will happen? We have to rely on human, and there are highly chance that human can make a mistake, human can do an error. So there's, because of that, what will happen? You have to compromise with the quality. So there will be a highly chance that there will be like you will not get a product which you want. There will be a quality issues. And fourth one will is that increasing safety in a working environment condition. So suppose if you do everything manual and we depend on a human, it means, as I said, that human can make an error, human can do a mistake. So based on that, there will be a highly chance of hazardness, and some of the things are like if you go into the oil and gas industries or petrochemical industries, there are you can get like a there will be a 2,000-degree temperature over there, 3,000-degree temperature over there. So human cannot enter into that area. If we implement a automation over there over that, then what will happen? You can monitor and control your entire process by sitting into the controller room. So this is the four you can say purpose, or this is the four advantage of this technology. That's why nowadays we are using these technologies that much. So as I said, where automation is used, we can use, or we are using automation from agriculture to the space technology. We will take a like we will discuss about the application of that also in a later part. So as I said that if we applied the automation, if we applied automation on any plant, then what will happen? Quality is going to be increased, productivity is going to be increased, labor cost is going to be down, and end of the day, whatever we think, whatever we decide, whatever is our target, we will be able to meet the target in our production plant. So if you talk about the global market of this automation, then in 2018, the global market of automation was $157 billion. And by 2026, it is going to be around $296 billion. It means it is going to be double of that within 7 to 8 years. So based on that, you can understand that this technology is going to be more and more used into industries, and we should have a knowledge on this thing. So now let's talk about the history of the automation. So earlier, before like automation comes, there was also industries and they were working there, right? So why automation comes? Let's talk about that. So let's go into the history. So earlier we were working on manual control. So in manual control, as we discussed, we were completely dependent on human. So as we noticed, what are the disadvantages of that? There will be a highly error chances, or you can say a production loss will be there, quality compromisation will be there. So to overcome those things, what happened? In industry launched the pneumatic and hydraulic control system. So you will control your entire process. Suppose to control your entire plant, there will be like they were using a pneumatic control or hydraulic control in that. So let's take an example of pneumatic control. If we are going into any buses, BRTS and Volvo buses, so that door is getting on and off. So that is controlled by the pneumatic. If you talk about the JCB, that is controlled by the hydraulic. But there was also some disadvantage was that, like suppose if any like if you talk about the pneumatic control, so if there is any leakage in air, then what will happen? Whatever like air that particular device will not get the proper air pressure, then that device is not going to work properly. So there was a disadvantage. Apart from that, suppose anybody anywhere there will be a leakage. So to figure out that leakage, it will take a time, and you have to do the maintenance of that, and it is going to take a too much time, and because of that there will be a production loss. So to overcome those things, hardwire logic control was introduced. Industry was using the relay and contactor based circuit, and based on that the entire process was getting controlled. So the similar thing was that because of these things, because of these two hardware, relay and contactor, the panel is going to be a very bulky. There will be a lots of wiring things, and if anything comes fail, then to figure out those which contactor or which relay is not working, it is going to take a too much time, and based on that what will happen, as we know, that production is going to be lost. So to overcome those things, logic gates, or you can say logic circuit was introduced, electronic circuit was introduced. There is also some disadvantages, because if anything comes, like there will small components are available into that logic gates, or you can say in electronic circuit. So if anything fails, then you have to replace the entire circuit, or maybe if you are doing a repairing of it, or you are doing any troubleshooting on that. So you can say to sort out the one fault, there is highly chances that there will be another fault will be created. So then after to overcome those these challenges, or you can say disadvantages, the PLC automation technology is introduced, and PLC programmable logic controller. As we discussed that to automate any process, we require any controller. So for that we have a controller that's called PLC, programmable logic controller. So what PLC has done, it replaced this entire thing. It replaced the relays, contactor, timer, counters. It replaced all hardware circuits into a single hardware, and that hardware is a very small hardware, but that can automate your entire process. So already, as I already said, that what are the disadvantages we already discussed in history of automation. So as I said, that the programmable logic control, PLC, short form is PLC, that is our industrial controller. It is a solid state device and computerized industrial computer, right? That in that you have to do some programming, then you have to transfer that programming to that controller. You have to connect it. You have to connect some your input and outputs with this controller, and based on that your process is going to be work, right? So that we will see later how we can do the programming, what are the programming languages that we will, what is PLC in detail, how to select that, how it works, that we will see. So you can see there is a lot of advantages are for PLC. That's why we are using nowadays in PLC. On your slide, you can see this is a PLC. There are different brands are available. You can see this is Allen Bradley brand PLC available. This is Siemens brand. So you can see this is a very small hardware, but that can do a lot of things. Suppose if I show you in this image, you can see this is the control panel for the hardwire and relay logic control. So there are lots of hardwares are placed in control panel, and based on that your entire process is getting control, or you can say the process is going on. This image, you can see this image is from the General Motor plant, which was in USA. So now what PLC has done, that PLC has replaced all these things. The PLC has replaced all these things by this very small hardware, because the small hardware replaced entire things, whatever relays, contactors you were using over there, that replaced by this small hardware, and that small hardware can control your entire process. So if you talk about the advantage, that we will like you can say reliability in operation, that is a flexible, then flexible in programming and reprogramming. You can do the program, then if you want to change anything in that program, then you can again do the reprogramming, then you can download the program, and your process is going to work accordingly your program. Large quantity of contacts, like you have seen over there, there are lots of contactor relays are available that replaced by small hardware, and directly you can connect your input and output into this PLC. What are the input and output, we will discuss also in some time. Then you can say online offline modification is available, because like whenever your process is going on, and sorry, if you want to do some modification in that, then you can do in online. You don't have to stop your process, you don't have to stop your entire process, you can do a modification over there. Similar, in parallel your process is going to work over there. That is also cost effective. Initially there will be a you can say installation cost and everything will be high, but later on part there will be a no service or maintenance cost that will be very less. So that's why one of the purpose over there was reducing cost, right? That's why, because we can reduce the cost. Initially cost will be high, but later on there will be a less maintenance cost, or you can say less service cost will be there. So, and at end of the day will reduce a cost. Then after small physical size, as I said that it is very small, but it can control your entire process. Ability to communicate with the computer. It will communicate with our computer. So we will also monitor it from our control room by sitting in our control room, and we will monitor it from our computer system. Easy of maintenance and troubleshooting, as already I said that documentation are available then, and security also available in that. So nobody can directly change anything. No one can directly come and modify it, right? So that is the advantage of the PLC. If you talk about the application of this automation technology, so that automation technology is used in all the industries, that is like food and beverage industries, cement industries, then you can say automobile industries. If you are going into the car manufacturing plant, or you can say bike manufacturing plant, wherever you go, you will see this technology, or you can say you will see a PLC over there for the assembly purpose, painting purpose, or trimming of the component purpose. Then after in motion control industries, you can say packaging industries or amusement parks. Then after steel rolling mills, paper mills, sugar mills. Then you can say infrastructure industries, like wherever you go into the mall, or you can say multi-story apartment where HVAC systems are used to control that entire HVAC system. A PLCs are used. Then after chemical industries, ink and paint industry, if you talk about the Asian Paint, Berger Paint, or you can say Nerolux, those all are industries are using this technology, or you can say PLC. Then after CNC machine, glass cutting machines based industries, plastic based industries, and lastly, you can say oil and gas industry. So most of the industries are using automation technology, and to do the automation, they have to use industrial controllers, that is our PLC, programmable logic controller. So there are some leading automation service provider companies, that are Rockwell Automation, or you can say Allen Bradley. Then after Siemens, ABB, Schneider Electric, Mitsubishi, Delta, G Fanuc, Hollis, Omron. More than 200 plus service providers are there. Now, to know about this industrial automation technology, we have to divide this technology into three components. First one is field instrument, second one is control hardware, and third one is control software. So field instruments are nothing but that is your sensors, whatever the sensors you have. That is, suppose if you talk about the sensors, like to measure the temperature, if you have a temperature sensor, level sensor, flow sensor, or you can say pH sensor, gas sensor, density sensor. So these all are sensors are coming into the field instrument. Then after your control hardware, that is our PLC, who is going to going into detail about all these three components, because we have to discuss more about PLC programming. So we will discuss more about control hardware. So as we said that there is PLC, that is solid state device, or you can say that is industrial computer in which we will do the programming. And then after doing so, we will use some software to do the programming over there. We will do the programming, then we will transfer that programming into our controller, and that controller is going to connect it in our plant with a different input and output devices. And based on our programming, whatever programming we have done over there, accordingly it is going to work over there.
Hello everyone. Uh, might be some technical error from the speaker side, so please wait for a few minutes.
Okay. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes. Audible, sir.
Sorry, there was internet interruption.
Okay, no problem, sir.
So my screen is visible, sir, now?
Yes, sir. Visible.
Okay, great. Okay,
Okay.
let's continue. So as I said that the automation, like PLC was earlier firstly used for the automobile sector. So there is the architecture of the PLC, how PLCs work. So for that PLC that has particular architecture, if you talk about the architecture, you can see that there will be some input module, there will be a power supply, then there will be a CPU. In that you have there will be a programming memory, right? ROM or RAM will be there. In that our program is going to be stored. Then there will be output module. So that's how PLC architecture is there. So there will be some input is going to connected at your input module. You have to supply, you have to give a power supply. Then you will do some programming that is going to be stored in your CPU, and there will be some output which you have to connect it at your output module. So whatever you have done the programming, based on that, your what will happen, your process is going to be work. So now if you talk about the types of PLC, how many types of PLC we have available? So there will be a some, like there will be a bifurcation over there. If you talk about based on size, like as I said, there will be some input and output. So if you talk about based on size, as based on a number of inputs, or you can say number of outputs. So as you can see that there will be a nano type PLC will be there, micro type PLC will be there, medium PLC will be there, large PLC will be there, or you can say very large PLC also will be there. And if you talk about the based on hardware setup, then there will be a compact type PLC and modular type PLC. And if you talk about the compact type PLC, then there will be a PLC which is going to be connected at your output module. So there will be a PLC which is going to be connected at your output module. So that is how PLC architecture is there. So if you talk about the or like whatever we discuss in architecture, that PLC has a separate power supply, separate CPU, separate input modules, and separate output module will be there. So here you can see this is hybrid type of PLC. So what will happen? All modules are going to be separate. So this is your power supply, this is your CPU, then this is your, you can say, input module, output module. So you can connect, you have to connect separate modules based on your application, based on your requirement. You can connect that number of input output in that particular PLC. So that is going to be a modular type. So there will be a different module. So that is our modular type PLC. And the third one is hybrid PLC. What is the meaning of hybrid PLC? That PLC is going to be a compact type of PLC, but there will be some privileges that you can connect certain number of input output modules. So here you can see this is our standard PLC as a compact type of PLC. In that CPU are there, input modules are there, output modules are there, but you can connect certain number of, you can say 10 or 20 input output you can extend into that particular PLC. So that is going to be your hybrid type of PLC. Now there will be a, if you are like whatever the things we are discussing, that are the selection criteria of PLC. Now suppose if you want to buy any PLC for our application, then we have to take care of all these things. So there will be a 3 different types of output module are available for the any PLC. So first one is relay. It means it supports AC and DC both signals. So what will happen? Suppose I have a one application. Let's take a simple application that I have a one application where when I press the start switch, then my motor is going to be on, and I have to indicate that motor signal, or you can say that I have to indicate that motor as an indicator lamp in my control panel. So if I'm taking that motor indicator lamp as a DC type, so which is going to operate on 24 volt, and suppose if I, or you can say you will take as a AC type output, that is going to be work as on 230 watt of AC. So if you are taking a, like you can say, if you are taking a DC type of output lamp, that also you can connect over there. Or if you are taking a AC type of output lamp, that also you can connect over there if you have a relay type of PLC. Now let's talk about the transistor type of PLC, or you can say MOSFET type of PLC. So that is going to support only DC signal. So suppose we have a, let's take example, the same example, that we have a one start switch, and if I press the start switch, then when my motor is going to on, and that way that I have to indicate on control panel. So if I have taken a, you can say, AC type of lamp which is going to operate or which is going to on 230 volt AC, but my PLC is which type of PLC I have? That is transistor, or you can say MOSFET type of PLC. It means that is going to give only 24 volt in output, and I have a lamp that is operated on 230 watt AC. So I cannot connect the 230 watt AC lamp into this PLC because my PLC output type is transistor. And the third one is triac type triac output type module, which support, you can say, only AC signal. So majority industries, or you can say in majority process, relay type PLC is preferable. If you have a, like you can say, if you are using a servo, or you have a high speed counter or anything like that, then transistor, or you can say MOSFET type of PLC are used. Otherwise, mostly in 90% cases, relay type PLCs are used. So that you will have a privilege that you can connect AC type of output also, or you can say a DC type of output also you can connect over there. Then after, let's talk about the selection criteria of PLC. If you are buying any PLC, and or you have to work on any PLC before like, then you have to consider the certain criteria, and you have to take care of that, right? So you have to take care of the number of IOs, how many input output you have required. Suppose in your process, suppose there is a 10 inputs and 6 output is there. So total you required 16 IO. So by you required 16 input output, but you have to purchase a PLC with a 20% buffer. So suppose you will go with the, you can say 20 IO. You will buy a PLC which has a 20 input output 20 IO PLC. So in future, if any modification is that, so if any input is extended, or you can say you have to connect any extra output, that you can connect. Otherwise, your PLC is going to be completely wasted for you. You have to buy a new hardware. Then any PLC has a scan cycle. What is the meaning of scan cycle? So you can see here, like what will happen if you connect your, if you have done the programming, you have downloaded that programming in your controller, you have connected all input and output, and then your PLC going into run mode. So what will happen, that whatever the input you have connected, that input will your PLC will scan it. Then after, what will happen, based on your programming, whatever the programming you have done, based on that it will update your input. Then what will happen, your output is going to be scanned, and if anything, if any output is going to on or off in your logic, that is going to be updated. So this entire process is going to be continuously run over there, and whatever the logic you have created in your PLC, that is going to run over there. So that is your scan cycle of PLC. Then you have to also take care of your protocols. Protocol is it means nothing. Suppose, as I said, that we have to download that program from our software to our PLC. So to download that program from your system to your hardware, whatever the protocol you use, whatever the connection you use, that is your protocol. There are protocol available. Then Modbus protocol is available. Then after Profinet, Profibus, Ethernet IP, CAN open protocol. So different protocols are available. Protocol is nothing but whatever the cable type connection you use to download that program from your, you can say, from your system to your controller. So what is the meaning of download or upload in PLC programming? If you do the PLC programming, then we have to do a download or upload. So what is the meaning of download? So first, if we have done any programming in your computer, or you can say in your laptop, that program you have to transfer into that controller. That is called download process. And if already any program is available in that controller, and you want that backup of that program, or you can say copy of that program from that controller to your system, that's called a upload process. So as we discussed, as I said, that we have to connect some input and output to our PLC. So as we know that there will be a two type of IO modules, input output modules. First one will be a discrete, it means digital. Analog, it means you already know that the value is going to be vary. So in discrete, what will happen? It will either it will be on or off, 0 or 1, or in analog, what will happen? It is going to be a vary. So in input, suppose we talk about the discrete type of input. So what are the input we can connect to the PLC? That will be a push button, switches, limit switch, contact, relay, hand switches, limit switches, proximity switches, pressure switch, level switch, temperature switch, or you can say temperature, right, float switch. So whatever, like, that is going to be on or off, that type of switch you can connect over that. Then what will be in output devices in a discrete? So that will be a relay, contactor, lamp, alarm footer, LED, any coil, right, solenoid valve, any on off type of valve, or you can say any on off type of motor that you can connect as an output device, or that is going to be your digital type. And what will comes in analog? So if you talk about the input, then as I said, that different type of sensors. So RTD to measure the temperature, thermocouple, then any transmitters, you can say any level sensor, any flow sensor, any pH sensor, any gas sensor, right? So that all you can connect as an input in analog type. And what will be your output? That will be your drive, right? Or variable frequency drive, actuators, or you can say control valves. So these all are going to come under output device in analog type. So these are our types of input output modules which we can connect to our PLC. Now there are different brands available for PLC: Siemens, Allen Bradley, Delta, Schneider, Mitsubishi, G Fanuc, Omron, Hollis. Lots of brands are available. Out of all these brands, there are two major brands in entire world. That is your Siemens and Allen Bradley. These two company has taken almost 64 to 65% global market of automation technology. Now let's come to our second topic, that is PLC programming. So if you want to do a programming in PLC, then definitely we have to use some programming language. So whenever the programming language comes in our mind, we think about C, C++, Python, or Java, something like that. But to do a programming in PLC, we are not using any those languages. We have to use some different languages, which is mentioned in your like on your screen. That is ladder logic, structured text, instruction list, sequential function chart, and function block diagram. These five languages are used. Out of these five, There are first one is like ladder logic is mostly used in industry. Then after secondly, if any language is used, that is function, block, diagram. Apart from these three languages are very used very less in industries. So we will do today a programming on ladder logic. So here you can see this is the one snapshot of any programming software in which you can do the programming. So this is a snapshot of Siemens brand PLC, and the programming software name is Totally Integrated Automation TIA Portal. We will do a programming after some time. So that's how you can do. This is the ladder logic programming. This is a simple programming for on and off of your motor that we will do also in some time. Now, if you do any programming, like suppose as I say, as you see here, I have done a simple logic. Let me explain you. So first we talk about the ladder logic, how ladder logic is work. So ladder logic means there will be a ladder like this in your programming software. In this ladder, there will be a rung like this. So you have to place your logic between this rung. So how this ladder, what is this ladder meaning? This is your bus bar. It means phase is going to pass from here, neutral will be over here. So whatever you place here between this phase and neutral rung, it is going to work based on your application or whatever programming you have done over there. So now in ladder logic, or you can say in a PLC programming, you should have a knowledge, or you should have a clear concept on NO and NC. What is NO and NC? NO means normally open. The symbol of NO type contact is like this, normally open, and for NC, that is symbol is like this. So what will happen if you connect, like if you give a phase over here, and if you give a neutral over here, and if you place any, or you can connect anything over here, that is going to work accordingly. So what is NO or NC? So whenever you talk about NO NC, that is your simple push button. If you have seen any push button on any panels, so that is your push button. So push button is going to be either NO type or NC type. So what will happen in NO type push button? Initially it is open. So if you give any supply to that push button, it is not going to pass from there because it is open. When you press it, so what will happen? Once you press it, it is going to be converted into NC type. It is going to be converted. Suppose it will be like this in initial condition. When you press it, it is going to be closed. So if you have given any supply from over here, it is going to pass from there. So that is your NO type contact. What is NC? So NC symbol is like this. It means in earlier, or you can say in initial condition, it is closed. So supply is going to pass from there. And when you press that button, when you press that push button, what will happen? It is going to convert it into open condition. So what will happen? Whatever the supply was passing from there, that is going to be disconnected from there, and that supply is not going to pass from over there. So in PLC programming, if you want to do PLC programming, or you want to understand it, or you want to learn it, so first you should have a clear concept on NO and NC, and the second one is logic gates, and or gate, right? Is and or gate, which we already studied, right? And or gate. So suppose if you have to connect any, like if you want to connect any two inputs in an AND, it means you have to connect in a series like this. So this is going to be your AND operation, because as we know that in an AND truth table, if both input is high, then our output is going to be high. So that's why we have to connect it in a series. And if you talk about the OR, then it is going to be connected in parallel like this. So this is our pair, because what happened in OR truth table, if any input is high, then your output is going to be on, because it is going that will be a plus operation. Over here what will happen? It is going to be a multiplication operation. So if your both input is high, then you will get an output. It means that is AND gate, and you have to design a logic. You have to put your input in series connection. And if you talk about the OR, then we have to put in, you can say, parallel, like this, in parallel connection. So let's do a simple programming. First I will explain you over here, and then we will go into the software, and we will do it. So I have a simple logic where I have a one start switch, one I have a stop switch, and one I have a motor. So when I press this start switch, my motor should be on, and when I press this stop switch, my motor is going to be off. So what I said, if I press the start switch, then my motor is going to be on. So which contact we can use? We have to use NO contact, because what will happen in in NO. When we press it, then supply is going to pass and our output is going to on. So we'll use the NO type control. Now what I said, when I press the stop switch, then my output motor is going to be off. So as you know that, as I explained earlier, that in NC contact, when what is happening, it is closed in initial condition, and when we press it, then it is going to open and it is going to disconnect the supply. So we have to use NC as a stop switch. Now how we have to put? We have to put in series connection like this, and we will connect a motor as a symbol, like for any output. If we are doing a PLC programming and if you want to denote any output, so what will happen, you have to use this type of symbol in PLC programming. So now you will think that, sir, you are saying that we will like we will use this type of motor symbol. So what will happen, we have to, suppose we have a start switch, we have a stop switch and motor. So what is the actual in hardware, what is going to happen? Suppose this is our PLC. So we have to connect the start switch over here as an input. We have to connect stop switch over here, or you can say we have to connect output we have to connect motor wires in our output terminal of PLC. And whatever we make a logic like this, that is going to work over there. We don't have to do anything else. We just have to create a logic. We will transfer it into our PLC, and that is going to work accordingly like that. Okay. So let's go into the software, and I will show you how the logic. So as you can see, this is a programming software for Siemens brand PLC, where I have created some logic. It is getting open. So here you can say the same logic I have created. I have a one start switch, I have a one stop switch, and when you can say this, you can consider motor also, or you can consider lamp also. So what I have done, for a start switch I have taken a NO type contact, for stop switch I have taken an NC contact, and for the lamp I have taken an indication of like this. So let me run it, and I will show you also how it is. Like suppose when we press the start switch, then based on our logic, as I said, that our motor, or you can say our lamp, is going to on. So let me run it. When I press this switch by modifying into from 0 state to 1 state, so you can see the supply has passed and the line is converted from dotted to green, and you can see my output, my lamp is also converted into green. It means it is on. And I have also designed a SCADA logic for that. So you can see in your screen also here like this. In industries, we are using in our control room SCADA logic. In SCADA, we can monitor it. You can see this. My output indication is not denoted as a green. If also now, as I said, that using SCADA, we can control from the control room also, right? So this is my control room screen of SCADA. When I press this stop switch, just a minute. Let me stop it from here. When I press the stop switch, you can see our output is off now. So that's how you have to create a logic. That's how you can create a logic. Now you will think that, sir, what is this M0.0, M0.1 or Q136.0? So that is the addressing of your PLC, where you have connected your input or output. So suppose if you are connecting in hardware logic, if you are connecting your motor at a 0 number of output, then in a logic you have to mention that address, suppose Q136.0. Now suppose if you have connected your start switch at a 0 number of input, then definitely you have to use over here 0 number. If you have connected at 0 number and if you are giving an address here 1, then it is not going to work, because what we have done, suppose in our PLC wiring, what we have done, we have connected a start switch at a 0 number. So in software also we have to use a 0 number. If you are connecting in hardware at a 0 number and in software you are taking a 1, that is not going to work. So there will be two things will be there if you are doing a PLC programming. First, you will do a programming. Accordingly, you will do the hardware wiring, or initially you will do the hardware wiring, and based on that you have to do the PLC programming, right? So that's how you can say here also you can see. Let me also run the SCADA now for you. So that's how the SCADA all was used. SCADA is used into the industries for the monitoring purpose. That's how you can configure the different screen over there. Then you can go into the different screens like this. You can mention you can see the graphs over there, whatever the process is going over there. You can monitor and control it directly from your control room. Here also you can see I have created some other logic. So where what I have done, I have a use of timer. Suppose I have a one application where what I have to do, when I press the one switch, when I press any one switch, then my motor should be on for the 10 seconds. Suppose my motor should be on for the 10 seconds. So in earlier when PLC was not there, then what we were doing, we are using the timer hardware over there, and then we are connecting our push buttons and motor with the timer, and we are setting that timer value at a 10 seconds. So that is going to work like that. But when PLC is arrived, then what, we don't have to use the extra timer hardware. Directly we have a facility in our software that we have to use timer instruction, and based on that we can control our motor accordingly like that. Suppose I want to run that motor for 10 seconds. So what I'm doing, I am entering 10 seconds over here, and when I press this switch, you will see that, just you can see my motor is now on, and it is going to on for 10 seconds. It is showing a timing over here, 5 seconds, 6, 7, 8 seconds, 9 seconds. Once it is 10 seconds, output is going to be on. Now suppose if you want to run it for the 20 seconds, so I will enter at 20,000, which is taking a time in milliseconds. So that's why I'm now again I will press this switch. When I run this switch, you can say it is going to on for now 20 seconds. This motor output is going to on for the 20 seconds. After 20 seconds, it is going to off automatically. You don't have to do anything. It is going to stop after 20 seconds automatically. So here you can see. You can see here now after 20 seconds, it is automatically stopped. So in PLC, you have different instructions are available. You can use the different instructions based on your requirement. Suppose let's take an example. Let me create another program for you guys. Suppose I have one application that, suppose let's take one example that I have one car parking. So what happening in car parking, there will be a one entry sensor and there will be one exit sensor. Let me draw a simple diagram of it. So suppose I have this car parking. In this car parking, there is a facility of 10 cars. Okay, so this is entry gate and this is exit gate. So at entry gate, there is a one sensor is placed, and at exit gate, there is a one sensor is placed over there. So if any car is coming, and in this car parking, there is like, if any parking slot is available, then there will be an indication of green lamp, and one red lamp is also there. So if parking slot is available, then green lamp is on. It means that person that person will understand that, okay, parking slot is available, I can go over there, right? And suppose if any slot is not available, then what will happen? This red lamp is going to be on. And suppose 10 car is already there in parking. So if car is goes out, like suppose if car is going out, so what will happen? One slot is available. So automatically from red lamp to green lamp is going to be on. So that's how I want to create a logic. So I will show you how to create that type of logic. Okay. So what is that? I have to count the value of car. How many cars are available? So let's I'm taking a one NO contact, and I'm giving a tag as a addressing as a, suppose M0 dot, you can see 5. I'm giving it, and I'm taking a counter from this instruction. So I'm taking a counter type of instruction. Okay, and here in counter I am giving a preset value as a 10. It means 10 parking available, and here counter down is there and counter up this. Here I'm also giving one context just to show you. That is my AM0 dot suppose 6. So what is happening? This is for my in car and this is for my out car. Okay. And here I'm just giving any tag like this. Okay. And here to reset this entire system at a reset bit, I am giving any bit over here. Okay. So that is counter instruction. Using this counter application, we will, like, suppose we have a connected one sensor over here. So based on that sensor, we will get data from that one car is entered or car is exited from that parking, right? So that's how you will get it. So let's just download this simple logic in it. Right now I have not configured the output, or like you can say green lamp or red lamp. Just first we will check that the counter is working properly or not. So I have downloaded it into my PLC, and let's turn on the monitoring mode. Or you can see over here right now, here there is no car. Zero is, which means there is no car is entered. So let's enter one car from by using this bit. So you can say one car is over there. Okay. Now let's check on this bit. It means the one car is got exit from that. So if we exit, one car is exit from that, it means that right now zero car inside the parking. It means the parking slot is available. So that's how you can create a logic by using a various instruction which is available inside the software. And now if you want to do like indicate the lamp output over there, then we have to use the compare instruction. Using this compare instruction, you can connect using the compare instruction, you can monitor your green lamp and red lamp indication over there also. So that's how it is a very simple. If you like do the seriously, it is very easy to understand. It is very easy to do the PLC programming by using all this ready-made software instruction. By using all this ready-made instruction, we can create our logic based on our requirement. So that's how you can do the PLC programming. And as I said that there are the different brands of PLCs are available. So if you go, suppose as I said that the Siemens brand is there, Allen Bradley brand is there. So if you talk about the Allen Bradley brand, then there will be a difference of only software. Software will be different. There will be some GUI graphics will be graphics will be different. But whatever the logic, suppose as we created a logic for a start stop and for a motor like this. So if you go into the Allen Bradley brand software, then 110% this type of logic you have to create as the same way. What will be the difference? Graphics will be different. Any addressing will be different. Suppose here we are using addressing like this, AM0.0. If you talk about the Allen Bradley brand PLC, then they are going to address like this. So addressing will be different or graphics will be different, but the logic, if you are creating for the start stop of any motor, then this is going to be same like this in any brand of PLC of world. So logic is going to be same, only the you can say addressing will be different and graphical user interface will be different. So if you learn any PLC, like if you learn on any brand, single brand, like if you have a knowledge on Siemens brand, then easily you can work on Allen Bradley, or you can say Schneider, or you can say Mitsubishi, or any brand of the world. So that's how the PLC program works. So I think that's it from my end. We have a very short time. We have only 1 hour of time. So whatever I can cover, that I cover as an introductory part. And if it is required in future, then definitely we will conduct any detailed session also on this particular topic also. So that's it from my end, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir. As we are waiting for a few minutes, sir. If anyone have a query related to our topic, so sir, we are waiting for a few minutes, and then we can closing our webinar.
Sure, sir. Sure. Not an issue, sir.
Okay. So, guys, anyone have any doubt related to our today's topic? So please let me inform. Uh, I think you have noted down my number, but once again, just remind my number. That is 7878226061. So if anyone have any query, then just let me know. I think, sir, no one has any query. So, sir, here we can be closing our webinar. Okay, sir. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
And also, I would like express my sincere and thanks to all the viewers who attending the webinars and make it a success. I hope it will helpful to you. Thanks. Okay. Have a good day. Thank you,
Thank you.
sir.
Okay.